Internet? My name's Sammy Master and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing Season 1 of the new Netflix original show, Space Force. Which I feel like I've been reviewing a lot of Netflix stuff lately, which is probably just because that's what I'm finding new stuff on. So yeah. Space Force dropped this morning of May 29th, and I have already watched the entire thing because what else am I doing with my life? But before I get into that, I feel like I cannot make a video today and not talk about what is happening in this country. So when I first decided to make my channel, I told myself I did not want to get political on camera because to me, politics tends to divide people and not unite them. And I've always been somebody that has a hard time when people don't like me, and I don't like to make people mad. So I decided I was going to stay out of that. But now we are at a point in this country where it's not about politics anymore. It is about human life and the right for somebody just to live and not be cut down because of their skin color. And I am never going to know what it's like to be a black person in America. And I hate seeing people scared just to walk out of their homes. That should not be happening. Things need to change. My heart is breaking for this country and for the city of Minneapolis and the protests happening there, and even the protests happening in my own state, in Louisville. There have been too many senseless acts of violence against black people, and that needs to stop, like, now. And as far as riots go, I am not somebody that thinks that violence helps a cause, but people have been protesting peacefully for years, and we haven't acknowledged them. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "A riot is the language of the unheard." So seems like to me it's time for us to start listening. It was time a long time ago, but here we are. We need to listen now. Personally, I woke up this morning just feeling different, feeling like we have to do something. And my voice is shaking because I'm so upset with how things are right now. And I just don't know what I feel. And this is a turning point. We need to take this and become better. We have to change things. You have to. With that being said, my heart is with the families that have been affected by senseless acts of violence recently and throughout all time. I am charging myself to do better and to speak up more often about stuff like this. I can't be silent anymore, and I can't have the mentality of not trying to upset people because I have to talk about it. You have to. We're to the point we have to talk about it, and if you don't, that says a lot to me. All right, so I know that was a little heavy, but had to be said. So now I'm gonna get into Space Force Season 1. So like I said, this show dropped on Netflix this morning. So the show was created by Steve Carell in partnership with the creator of The Office and Parks and Rec and several other shows, Greg Daniels. So I don't know what I was expecting to go into this show. I didn't know if it was going to be like The Office. I could tell by the trailer it wasn't going to be the same kind of format. Like if you've seen The Office and Parks and Rec, you've seen it has a different kind of style to it. And this show does not have that same style. It's definitely a more cinematic kind of style because it's in partnership with Netflix and that's what they do. You can definitely kind of see the handprint that this was created by people in those projects. And it had several overlap in acting from Parks and Rec and The Office, which was fun for me to see since I've seen both shows multiple times. So Space Force is about 4-star General Mark Naird, who was from the Air Force. He always had dreams of running a service branch, and he thought it was going to be the Air Force that he was running. Turns out, though, not quite. So the president has come up with the 6th branch of the military, known as Space Force, and now Mark Naird is going to run it. And he doesn't know how to take that in. He likes the idea of getting to make his own mark, but there's no blueprint to how do you dominate space, and why are we trying to do that? He's been tasked to get the US to get boots on the moon very quickly, and almost too quick of a timeline. So Mark moves his whole family out to a remote base in Colorado where they can kind of work on this project in secret. And he has to work with this team of scientists that he kind of butts heads with because he doesn't really understand science. He's a trained army man, and his go-to for a lot of things is force, and it's not how the scientists want to approach things. And so you kind of see throughout the show how their dynamic changes throughout the more that they get to know about each other and the closer that they become, because they're the only people that know about this project, is whoever is in the Space Force branch. And since it's a new branch and they're trying to recruit people to be in it, they don't have the most highly trained soldiers in it. They've got basically what they can get in this area, which is a lot of high schoolers and retired astronauts to do this. But while Mark is trying to get the US to the moon, he has to deal with some problems at home. He's got some problems with his wife going on, who is played by Lisa Kudrow. She did not want to move out to Colorado. They were based in DC, and she had her life there and didn't want to leave. And she did not take well to leaving. And you see kind of throughout the show, she is in a tough situation. And then Mark has a teenage daughter who also did not want to leave DC. She had friends out there. She was a completely different person in DC, and now she moves to Colorado where she doesn't fit in at all. And nobody really likes her. She doesn't have any friends. That can put a toll on a teenager for sure. And she's in a new place. Her dad is occupied with enacting a whole branch of the military, and her mom's got her own issues, so she's kind of by herself, and she gets a little angsty. It's like my favorite word to say around teenagers, because that's what they are. There's a lot of self-discovery that goes on in this show. Every character kind of figures out something about themselves. It left off on not the biggest cliffhanger for a show. It's not like, it doesn't leave me feeling too invested. It doesn't make me be like, oh, I'm dying to see what happens in season 2. It's just kind of like, okay. Like, I don't feel like I need a season 2 right now. It has an all-star cast in it, but the show, I guess I was expecting it to be funnier than it was. Like, it was funny. I chuckled, but I didn't really like outright laugh at anything, and I guess I was expecting to. There was a lot going on. Like, the story, there's a lot that they had to touch on. And that might change with the season 2, because I feel like they had to set a lot of things up when you're trying to make a fake branch of the military. Even though I'm not sure, is that actually a real thing now? Do we really have a Space Force? It was a good show. Produced very well. Pretty to watch. Acting, awesome. The story, I just think, needs some work if there's going to be a season 2. Like, it didn't really have me sucked in at any moment. Like, it was fun to watch and like have on. I don't know. It just didn't, I didn't feel invested in it. And for me to think that a show's really good, I have to be invested in it. Like, I got to the point where, like I said, I watched it all in one day, and it got to the point where I just felt like, well, I have to keep watching so that I can finish it. But I didn't want to feel like that, but I did. I was really hoping I wouldn't, but I've got to be honest, and that's what it felt like. And I didn't like that. So this all-star cast includes Steve Carell, John Malkovich, Ben Schwartz, Jimmy O Yang, Lisa Kudrow, Tawny Newsome, and the late Fred Willard, who unfortunately passed away earlier this month, which I loved him, and Diana Silvers, who's kind of a newcomer coming up. There were just so many good actors in this that I was just expecting more, and I guess they can only do so much with the story that they're given, but I don't know, it's just expecting more. Ben Schwartz's character in this show, he plays a media consultant for the Space Force, and he reminded me a lot of his character in Parks and Rec, honestly. He's slightly more toned down, but he's very similar. So because of all of that I just said, I'm going to rate this show 3.5 stars. It's because, yes, the acting was great, great cast, great overall production, but the story just needs some work. And there were just some things that like they would talk about, like they would touch on for an episode and then not talk about them at all, but it was like a good start to something that could continue. Like there was a friendship building between Diana Silver's character and Tawny Newsome's character in the show. They featured it in like one episode and then like never talked about it again. But it was fun to watch in that episode, and I wanted to see more between them. And it just didn't happen anymore. Also, another thing, this show is going to poke a lot of fun at politics. If you don't like political satire, you're not going to like this show. They make fun of a lot of things about our politics, honestly. And I thought that it was kind of funny. And there were a lot of moments where I was like, oh, they just did that. But if you don't think that that type of thing's funny, you're not going to think that the show's funny. So don't watch it then. Don't watch it expecting it to be something that it's not. It's not The Office. It's not Parks and Rec. It's its own entity. Like, it's a fine show. And if there's a season 2, I'll probably watch it. I mean, I just was expecting a little bit more from the show. I don't know how many more times I can say that. If you want to watch the show, go watch it. I mean, I still suggest watching it. Make your own opinion about it. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be the new Office or the new Parks and Rec. It's not. It's its own thing. You have to judge it as its own show. If you want to watch it, it's on Netflix. 10 episodes, each about 30 minutes. I watched it all in one day, so you can too. You don't need to do that though. After doing it, recommend not doing it, but split it up. If you've seen the show, let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. And I would really love it if you would subscribe at the end of this video. And then after you subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that is all that I've got for you today. So I guess I will see you next time. Bye.